Verse 26. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." Okay, so Jesus looked down and he didn't care about the clothes, understand? He cared about his mother. And they saw the disciple whom he loved, which is John, and told him, or at least told her, that this is your son. Now, okay, let's just read the next verse as well, because it's important. Verse 27. Then he said to the disciple, "Behold your mother." And from that hour, the disciple took her to his own home. Okay, there's a lot here in a certain sense. Why did Jesus, if this is Lazarus taking her to his own home, 2 kilometers out, 3 kilometers outside of Jerusalem, yeah, pretty much took her in, okay? I explained already why I don't think it's Lazarus, but John. Now, then the question is, so John's house was not, he was from Galilee. But who says that he did not have a house or they did not have a house in Jerusalem? Who tells you that? How do you know that they did? His father had other people working for him. Seemingly they, in some other way, had knowledge of the high priest, or the high priest knew them. So either it's familial bounds, or it's just money, trade bounds with the fish they would sell to these guys. I think most likely the trade part. And so that would imply that these people, if you sell to the high and the mighty, then you can ask more of your fish and you're going to make more out of it. So they could have had, right? Lots of people all over the planet have more than, not lots, by far, not the majority of people, but the minority of people have 2 homes for sure. I think the majority of people don't even have a home. Okay, but there are lots of people with 2 homes, right? Their house and then one they rent out, or their house at the beach or anything like that. It used to be a very South African thing as well, at least for my people, like the house and the farm, and then you have like a house, especially for the reverends, the pastors kind of idea, okay? But anyhow, so yeah, they could have. Okay, so that is an explanation. He could have. And anyhow, the text does not say that he took her into his home in Jerusalem. He just took her into his home. So he took her, okay? That is as well as good as where he is, there is home. Okay, I don't have a home, okay? So I live like everywhere in a certain sense. So for me, home is, if I'm in a bus, that's for me home. Okay, when I'm in a train, that is for me home. Home is where I am, kind of idea, right? And this is can be as well a simple explanation, or it can be that they had a home and he took her in there, and he took her in Galilee. Now, why not one of the other brothers? Because by the culture, the next after Jesus' eldest son, he had the responsibility for his mother. Now he's dead, so he hands this responsibility over to someone else. Now, why not one of his brothers? Well, firstly, seemingly they were not there at the cross. Okay, so it would have been a bit difficult. He did not write his last will. He could have, but he did not. He knew he gave his life, so he could have told his brothers, "Okay, I'm going there now. You need to take care of." He could have done it. He didn't do it. Not so. So the not being at the cross, that's not really the answer. This is more to do with how things, the future is going to play out. Jesus knew in this case the future, and who of all of them is going to have the safest life? In other words, the safest place for his mother. That's going to be John. He's only one of the disciples who died his own natural death. Yes, he was persecuted, but he went out after this. We see in the beginning in Acts, he was in court and in prison for a bit, and then let out. But after that, not again. Right? He's off the scene. He's just writing his books. Okay, yes, he's there in Patmos, kind of. But even there, I think he was sent there more for safety's sake than anything else. So he ended up in Ephesus, and so he was in a safe place where he could take care of her till she died. His other brothers became leaders in the church, or at least James, they're a leader in the church. And we don't know about the other brothers. But so yes, they were not in a safe place. So it makes perfect sense for Jesus then to hand this over to John, the one he loved. Okay. Yeah, that is just. But it shows as well the fact how Jesus responsibilities. He didn't throw the responsibilities away. And he took care of his mother. Like he ultimately took care of us. All for the glory of the Father. Again, the most important part, the glory of the Father. All this ought to glorify the Father as it glorifies him. I mean, a person on his last deathbed making sure everybody's taken care of deserves a lot more of our respect than one dying and just thinking of his dogs and cats and how to give more money to them. Okay, that's just that. Now I know there's for lots of people, dogs and cats out there like their children, which is sad. But yeah, that's kind of life like today. But if you just take care of your last breath and you're just thinking of yourself, then you deserve a lot less respect and glory in the sense. So respect. I don't want to use the word glory because we only need to glorify God and no one else. You need to deserve a lot less respect than that person on his deathbed taking care of those that's near and that needs to be taken care of, for sure. Okay, so this is what Jesus is, and that glorifies him as God even more. It ought to give us a lot more respect. With all that pain and all that suffering going on, for him to be able to take care of her, praise God for that. So yes, and again as well, just want to say here, he called a woman, like he did there in Cana in Galilee, when the first sign he did, called her as well woman. So some people there say it's a bad kind of a word, looking down, and no, here he calls the same thing, and sure not. The context is sure not bad or anything like that. The context is like he's taking care of it. So it's a word of endearment more than anything else. Okay, so the rain is still going on. I kind of don't want to continue recording here because there's other places where we need to record. But yeah, since it's raining and it's in the botanical gardens, there's a lot of shade, and I don't have an umbrella or anything like that, so I can't really move away from here. I might try and find a different tree to stand under at least, if I can find. There's a Stonehenge kind of idea, just not far from here, less than 100 meters from here, but it's open, and so I don't think I'll be able to even getting there is good with. But anyhow, I'll see you and we'll continue this recording.